Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Myra. So in today's video, I am going to share with you all 10 of the best summer palettes I have right now in my collection. And with the exception of one, they are all under $20. My last video that I uploaded, I shared another 10 eyeshadow palettes, but they are more on the high-end side. So if you want to check that out, I will link that in the eye above and down below. Now these palettes, I am going to mention them in alphabetical order according to the brand. So let's get started because I have quite a lot of things to say about these eyeshadow palettes. The first one that I'm going to talk about is the one from BH Cosmetics, and this one is called Summer in Tropez. So I do have the one with the older packaging. I know that they have a newer packaging on this one, but I do want to mention that this particular palette, I enjoyed a lot because it has a lot of pretty summery shades. I like this one for a transition shade, and then also this one right here. And then this shade right here and all of these shimmers here. I really enjoy all of these. Let me see the other one that I like. It's the Paradise. So this one's very pigmented and these are great shimmer shades. I also like this shade right here, Bay. It's very pigmented on the eye, and let me do another swatch there. It's so pigmented on the eye. And this one here called Cabana and Sizzle down here, they do have fallout, so in case you're using those, I would recommend you doing your eyes first. And this one right here, also the Intoxicating Shadow. This one, I have to build it up about 2 or 3 times to get the shade on the pan. This shadow here called Pampelone, I think that's how you say it. That one's a little bit patchy on the eye. You can definitely work on it to show it as it is on the pan. And then let me swatch these for you guys as well because they are really pretty shades. So here you have them. Again, those are more summer colors. And like I mentioned on my previous video, I am aiming more towards a one shade look on the eye, just like I have today, which I will share that with you which palette I use. It's actually one of these 10 eyeshadow palettes, but I really recommend this for this summer. Going on to the next palette, this one is actually another one from BH Cosmetics, and this is the one that is higher than $20. This one's $28, but BH Cosmetics always has sales, or they even have discount codes from influencers out there. So if I know of any, I can link that down in the description box for you guys. And this one is the BH Cosmetics the Ultimate Matte 42 Color Shadow Palette. As you can see, this is a pretty big palette and it has no mirror on it. But what I like about this palette is that the way I see it is these 2 top rows, they are more on the warmer side. The middle 2 are a little bit more towards the neutral side, and then the lower 2 are a little bit more on the cool side. So you can obviously create so many looks with this one. Again, this is an all matte palette. I also like that it has so many different shades here. Obviously we have more of the oranges, the pinks, the purples, even some blues and greens down here. There is some kick up on the pans, but that is to be expected with matte shadows, well, most of the time. And this one right here, although it shows really pretty on the palette, it's a little bit patchy once it is applied to the eyes. But again, once you work out through the shade, you can obviously make it work. This teal color down here, I think it was a little bit patchy too last time that I checked. As you can see, it's a little bit patchy and it does perform like that on the eye. My palette, I've had it for 2 years, so I cannot expect perfection from it. And also this black shade right here, it's not the best black shadow out there, but you can definitely work on that shadow as well. This blue shadow down here, this one, it's quite beautiful on the eyes, but once you start blending it out, it starts losing its pigmentation. So you have to pack it on again, just pat it back on the eye if you're creating a one shadow look. But it does change a little bit color whenever you are working it on your eyes. So just keep that in mind if you pick this palette. Let me do some more swatches here so you guys can see some of these shades. This pink one, let me do this yellow one, and also this yellow one over here. So there you have it, some of the swatches from this palette. For me, I think that there's these colors down here. For me, they also make this palette worth a lot. On the eyes, they are so pigmented, and those shadows alone, I think I would pay the $28 just for those shadows alone, because they work so good on the eyes. This one here, it's also another one of those shades that are very pretty on the eyes. Now it's not coming out here. There we go, that's a little bit better. And this shade here, it's so beautiful. For me, this shadow also makes up for the whole palette. So again, if I would have only those 7 shadows, I would pay $28 for those alone, because they are that good. And again, I've had this palette for 2 years, and still all of these shadows, most of them are performing still as when I bought it the first day. Now hear me out. The next 5 palettes are from the same brand, and yes, they are all from Colourpop. Obviously Colourpop has everything out there. It's all been done by Colourpop, so it was very hard not to mention Colourpop, but I really enjoyed their formula and their palettes. So the first one that I'm going to be talking about is actually the Little Ray of Sunshine. It's very pretty. The packaging is very summery. This is another all matte palette, but I wanted to include this one because for me this is a very travel friendly palette, and obviously it also has those cool tones and warm tones together in one palette. So I like this one because you can obviously create a very yellow look with this, but you can also create a smoky look with these 2 shadows down here. Now this, oops, it closed. This shadow here called Happy Place, this one's a nice shadow because you could build it up quite nicely on the eyes. And let me show you guys some of the shades in this palette, which again, I really like that it has those cool tones and warm tones together. As you can see, these are all yellow shadows, but that's what you're going to get mainly with this palette. This one's coming out a little patchy, but on the eyes, it's not patchy, in my opinion. If you want to glow this summer, this is it. Now, the packaging is very pretty and gorgeous. I like the butterfly details in here, and this palette is called Good as Gold. So you can get really pretty, beautiful, bronzy eyes with this palette. And also, in my opinion, this palette is going to be a great complementary palette to the Little Ray of Sunshine that I just mentioned. If you want to amp up your looks, this palette is going to work well with the previous palette. So in this palette, what I like again is that it's very neutral in my opinion. It leans a little bit warm with these shimmers down here. I'm sorry, in the middle here. And then the shade here, obviously it's a little bit more on the cool tone, these shades here. But these shimmers actually pack a punch on the eyes. The mattes, first of all, they all work stunning. There is 4 mattes in here and they all work very beautiful. Obviously you have these more transition shades here. You have the browns and then also this black in case you want to do a more smokier look. The shade here, Gilded, and this one down here, Golden Touch. These 2 are pressed glitters, so keep that in mind in case you don't want to use that on your eyes. Personally, I don't use pressed glitters about 99% of the time, so I just stay away from those. And this one down here is a sequin shadow, so obviously it's going to have that matte with a little bit of sparkle in it in case, again, you don't like that from Colourpop's formula, which they do include that a lot in their palettes. Now these 2 here, they are called Digging You and Gold Star. They actually perform pretty much the same on the eyes once you apply them together. So I would have preferred Colourpop to, you know, maybe change the shades, one of those shades. But my favorite shadows are these right here, the 24K and the All Team, and also Nugget About It. So you can see these 2 are very sparkling. They show pretty metallic on the eyes. And then this third one, the Nugget About It, this one I like it because it leans more on the cool tone. So again, this one's gonna pair very well with that Little Ray of Sunshine palette as well. So again, if you can pick this up, I really enjoyed myself and I recommend it for you guys too. The next two palettes are from the 9-pan monochromatic palettes that they have. The first one is called Orange You Glad. That's a very cute name. So obviously this is going to be an orange palette, and that is what I am aiming towards during this summer. So this palette, obviously it's a 9-pan palette, and this one here in the center, that is a pressed glitter. So again, if you don't like that, just keep that in mind. And then these three shades here, those three are pressed pigments. So they mark these with an asterisk because they are not safe to use around the eye area. You obviously would need to patch test those before using them on the eyes, just in case you have a reaction to the pressed pigments. But overall, I like this palette. Again, these here, the Squeeze Me and the Tangerine Dreams, those are shimmers and they look very stunning on the eyelids. And then also this shade down here, the Mimosa Mommy, which is the pressed pigment on the eyes. This looks very beautiful. Right now, the neon bold looks on the eyes are very trendy right now, and this is one of the shades that I am planning on using during this summer. Now, what you see on the pans is what you're going to get on your eyes. Honestly, they just perform exactly as they are in the pan. This shade here, this matte, the zested one, this has a very nice peach undertone, so that's going to be a great transition shade. And then also the ones that I mentioned, the Squeeze Me and the Tangerine Dreams, these do have fallout when you apply them on the eyes. So I would recommend you do your eyes first before doing your complexion. I would also reach into another palette, probably a highlighting palette or a highlighting shade, just because personally I don't see any one of these shades to use as an inner corner highlight or under the brow bone. So I always reach into another palette just again to get that bright inner corner and the brow bone shade. The next monochromatic palette from Colourpop that I want to share with you is the Blue Moon 9-pan palette. This is the one that I have on my eyes today. So let me show you which shades I used. I went in with the shade Moonlight on the crease, and then the shade Dabba D, I think that's what it's called, just because mine is erasing, the name underneath is erasing. So that one I just placed it all over the lid. And then this shade Lumi, I used it on the inner corner. So obviously I just used that top row pretty much. So this palette, again, just like the Orange You Glad, you're gonna use, the shades perform exactly on the eyes as you see them on the pan, with the exception of this one down here, which is called Clued In. This one, just like the one on the BH Cosmetics palette, again, it's a very pretty blue shade, but once you start blending it out, you're going to lose the pigment from the palette. So again, just pack the color again so you could have this shade performing as it is on the pan. So the 5 mattes that are in here are obviously very buttery. I already showed you that one. So these are very pretty, they're very beautiful. And also the shimmers here, they're very stunning. This one called Billie Jean Tideful is a nice sky blue color. And then this Mad About You, that one's a very nice royal blue on the eyelid. It's going to perform extremely beautiful. But my favorite one out of this palette is this one up here, the one that I have on my inner corner. And this one is called Lumi. So as you can see on the eyeshadow palette, it looks pretty white with like a blue undertone. But once you apply that on the eyes, it's going to be extremely blinding. This, as you can see, this is very gorgeous. It has that iridescence that is so beautiful. I don't think the camera is picking it up, but it's going to be stunning on the eyelids. I enjoy this shade a lot. Colourpop had a recent release with a neutral and neon palette. I believe they came out with 3 of those. But then they also came out with a new collection called coming in hot, I think that's what it's called. I don't remember, but those were the 5 pans and they came out with 5 palettes. To me, those were more interesting than the neutral and neon palettes because I think that they're going to have the same formula as this one. Obviously, I don't have them with me, but I think that the formula on those are going to be like the ones in their monochromatic palettes. So those palettes have me very intrigued. To be honest, they are on my list, so I am planning on picking those up. I don't know when, but I'll just probably wait on a sale or if they get discounted. But they are definitely on my radar right now because those, like the shades, they look stunning and the color stories are very interesting to me. But I'll just wait again until they have a sale so that I can pick them up. Let me know in the comments below if you would like me to review those. Again, there are probably many reviews out there. Honestly, I have not seen any reviews, but I probably will just to make sure that my purchase is going to be worth. But yes, I have my eye on those palettes. The last palette that I'm going to share with you all is one of the newest releases that Colourpop had, and this one is the Limoncello palette. The packaging is so pretty, and this eyeshadow palette is a 12 pan palette. They do have bigger pans from their previous palettes, and also it comes with the mirror that I don't want to glare you guys with or blind you guys with. So this palette, this shade actually here, the Fly Girl, this one has an asterisk there, so that is not a pressed glitter. What I'm thinking is that it has pressed pigments in there, and that's why they have to mark it with the asterisk. But again, the mattes here perform extremely well, and they do have a little bit of kick up, but they perform extremely well on the eyes. So we have 3, 4, there's 7 matte shades in this palette. This one down here, La Festa, that one performs exactly as you see on the pan. It performs exactly on the eyes, and I like that they included this brown shade down here because that's going to create a more smokier look if you want that. And let me swatch some of these shimmers for you guys. The Fly Girl again, which is marked with that asterisk. This Capri green here, it's also a very nice pop of green, and I really like that they included that one in the palette. I think it makes it a little bit more unique. And one of my favorite shades from the palette is called Easy Peasy. This one's a really nice duochrome. I don't know if you guys can see the shift there, but it's very pretty when you apply that on the eyes. JUVIA'S creates stunning eyeshadow palettes from their packaging all the way to their formula and the color stories. So obviously I wanted to include one of them. Well, actually I have 2 of them. This first one is the Zulu palette. Again, the packaging is so pretty. And I've had this palette for about 3 years, so don't judge. Don't judge my palette, because these top 3 here on the top row, they don't perform as well as they used to at the beginning, but I still wanted to include this one because obviously if you get it brand new, it's not gonna perform like mine. These are getting a little bit more patchy now that I've had it for quite a long time. I recommend this one because again, the shades here are they scream summer to me. And with this palette, I would recommend for you guys to also do your eyes first because it does have fallout, especially this shade right here, which is one of my favorite ones from the palette. That teal shade, that one's extremely gorgeous, but you do get fallout with that one. And these shades down here are very pretty as well. So pretty. And then the shimmers in this one, they are very, very beautiful. This one's a little bit more on the shimmer side, so it's not going to be as blinding as the other ones, even though you can obviously see there that it's performing very pretty. This one down here, it's so pretty. It has a nice gold shift to it, as you can see. So it's a duochrome in my opinion. That one's so pretty on the eyes. But this one, that one is the one that I like the most. It's going to show very neon on the eyes, and again, it's a shimmer shade. So that is why I would really recommend this palette for you guys. It's one of my favorites for this summer, and I know that I'm going to get quite a lot of use out of it. The other palette that I wanted to mention from Juvia's Place is this Nubian 3 Coral palette. Again, their packaging is just simply flawless. I love it. And this one right here is more on the cool tone side. The mattes here, there is 6 mattes and 6 shimmers here, if I'm not mistaken, and they perform exactly as they are on the pans. This brown right here, it does require a little bit more of building up. As you can see, it's very, very cool toned. The mattes are very pretty, and the shimmers here, they are also very stunning. Let me swatch here some for you guys. They don't have names, so I'm sorry, but as you can see, they're very blinding to the eye. And this one down here that I just swatched on my pinky, this one is more of a multi-chrome shade. It leans more towards like a peachy, pinky, orangey shade. So as you can see, as I move my finger, you start getting those colors. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. Let me see if I could put it here on the back of my hand. Hopefully it shows on the camera. It is a very stunning shade on the eyes. So see, that's very, very blinding. And then my favorite shade from here, from this palette, is actually the one here at the very, very top left corner. As you can tell, that is so pretty, it's so blinding. And again, I love Juvia's Place formula. I think it's so, so pretty. So that's a very pretty palette. The last palette that I'm going to mention is an everyday palette, in my opinion. And when I was preparing myself for this video, this was actually the first palette that I thought of. So this one's going to be from Maybelline New York. This one is the Nudes of New York. And obviously this one is a more year-round palette. You obviously have a lot of warm tones in here, but there are also some cool tones on this side of the palette. This palette actually has, I think, 9 mattes and 7 shimmers, if I'm not mistaken. It's a 16-pan palette, and I like how these shades out here, they are more bigger pans because they're obviously, you're gonna use those a little bit more. So in this one, this palette is actually, it has a lot of kick up, to be honest, and it's very, very powdery. But I mean, this one's one of the best drugstore palettes in my opinion. And I like this palette because the shimmers here, they are very wearable, you know, so if you want to wear this for your day job, this is going to be a great palette. The mattes blend very well. They are very, very easily blended into the eyes. And the shimmers here, they're a little bit more on the sheer side, so that's why I'm saying it's a little bit more of a day job palette. And my favorite shades on this palette are actually the Originator and the Inspire. These shimmers are more blinding on the eyes, and of course, you know, this one's going to be a great highlighting shade as well. So I highly recommend this palette. Let me swatch a little bit more of these shimmers down here. That way you guys can see how the palette performs. You can grab this palette pretty much anywhere at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS. I've seen it pretty much anywhere, and sometimes you can even get it at a lower price. So if you see this, I really recommend for you guys to pick this up. It's going to be a very great summer palette because you can create bronzy looks, a little bit more subtle bronzed looks. All of these palettes that I mentioned today, they are still available. I made sure not to mention palettes that are discontinued or limited edition. I will link them in my description box for you guys in case you want to grab any one of these. They can be more easily accessed. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to check out my previous video where I shared my other 10 palettes that I recommend. They are a little bit more on the high-end side. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of this month. I am very, very close. And those of you that have subscribed, I thank you so much for subscribing. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you taking your time on watching my videos. And I hope that you guys are all well. Please stay safe, and I'll catch you on my next one. Bye.